Good evening, guys. Welcome back to the channel here. Weekly close, uranium, a bit of a rough week, down 5-6% for URA and URNM, especially that yesterday's Cameco, earnings shenanigans. Definitely was a bad day, but hey, let's check where we are quickly. As always, if you like what you see, please subscribe to the Twitter and the YouTube so we can continue to grow. With that said, guys, let's get into business. Let's get into business here. Uranium spot price, at, roughly $100 at the moment. Again, and this is the first bigger. I will say, we have 2 weeks more or less back to back that is red. So again, we are coming into that gap right up here. And yeah, hopefully we don't have a bigger correction. But we just stay here, as I mentioned many times. I just want to stay here really for a long time. Then we can go higher. But yeah, again, $100 for uranium, massive run up here, nothing new, nothing tricky. Very nice still. URA, as mentioned, down 5% for the week. Okay, I mean, that's not the first time in history. We are still fighting that 2021 high there and the horizontal support there. And we have that golden trend line, which is broken. And if we zoom in here, you can see we have actually broken out, retested, again on the way up there. Then we had the Cameco stuff this week, and now we're coming down again. So as long as we hold here, in my view, it is extremely bullish. Getting below, that could, give us some sort of pullback, for the shorter term, maybe for like a few months. But hey, let's see what happens. I do think the overall pattern is quite clear. Again, we have this beautiful copper handle, and we might have a little wobble there. That is still my take until proven otherwise. URNM. Same thing here again, looking at it, on a weekly candlestick, insanely bullish. No doubt about it here. If I had my volume bar on here, massive breakout here, retesting, and now resumption. Again, we ideally want to hold that 2021 high, the triangle high over there. But for now, it is still really, really looking good. Yes, the week could be better, but again, you can't always have what you want. So URNJ, same thing here, but with an inclining, golden trend line here, breaking out, retesting. For now, resumption, we haven't dipped below that retest low right there at roughly 26. The level for URNM is, as you know, 51.5. That is what we want to hold, in my honest opinion. URNM against the spot price. You can see here we are still, I want to go to the daily, to be honest, on this one. We're still in this kind of expanding Trump hit right here. Hopefully it breaks to the upside. The level for me is, as you can see here, roughly 0.57, excuse me. This is, volatility increasing, and hopefully we get that blast to the upside. XLE against URNM, nothing new really. You can see here we're now a lot of lower highs and lower lows all the way down. At some point in time, you get to an end, and we have had 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's usually when you start to see a trend of change. Again, nothing is set in stone, obviously, but usually you start to come to the point that is actually, at the end of that trend, and we could count the trend and, possibly roll over. But again, for now, it is still a big downtrend. No questions asked. URNM against the overall commodities. We came into the highs up here, as you know, 2021. We tagged it there, coming up here, and now we are just playing with that uptrend. The momentum is quite strong, to be honest, here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we break down here. Does that mean that we go all the way down here? No, obviously not. It's still really bullish. If you add on the moving averages, they are still coming up nicely. This is the daily. We can go to the weekly. You can see here that actually we have a bit of a gap down to the weekly. So again, a breakdown is not the end of the world by any means. Ideally, we want this to hold, obviously, but I would I actually think there's a bigger chance that we break down here, maybe instead of it going up. But hey, what do I know? We have to wait for the confirmation, a weekly close below. We're still at support, so that was nice to see, to be honest. URNM against Bitcoin. We were playing with it, you know it. We looked at that triangle right here. That tiny, tiny space there actually defined which way, which asset that was going to outperform, URNM or Bitcoin. Clearly, there's no questions asked. That is a massive, massive red candle, meaning Bitcoin right now is heavily in the driving seat. We can also add a Bollinger Band here. Oh, it's not. I thought we were expanding more, to be honest, but still, as long as we're below that red trend line here, that is a bear flag, obviously. There it is. And we had the breakdown here, retesting, and now we're rolling over once again. And my hope was that we were getting above that golden trend line right there. But oh, nope, that is not the case. Bitcoin is definitely doing way better now than URNM. URNM against the good old Nasdaq. Again here, broke out of that bull flag. There you have it, beautiful. Retesting, and now we're actually coming down for a second bigger retest here. You can see the daily stuff here going on. So for now, it is still incredibly bullish. The downside is, though, if we don't hold that this bull flag here, then, you know, we could see the Nasdaq start to actually outperform quite a bit. But for now, hopefully, at least we didn't make a higher high here. We still have, you know, a lower high there. That's quite nice. And hopefully let's say this is the low. We don't know. We don't know exactly yet at the moment. But let's see and hope that that is the low there. And we start to grind higher. You know, that blue upper trend line from that bull flag is still support. It's a tiny bit below, but still, let's say we have the low there. Hopefully we have this triangle here. Yeah, a bit early to say, to be honest, but let's see. At least this one is 100% correct. That is the one we need to break through at some point in time, hopefully. URNM against the SPY, same thing, nothing new there. You have the upper there, and you can see here actually against the SPY, we're holding that blue bull flag, the top of that. Excuse me, that we should make it blue so we don't confuse the colors. There it is. So we're still holding, and we want this to blast off to the upside. Obviously, we don't want to get back into the bull flag after such a big breakout attempt. So yeah, let's see what happens. Again, hopefully we have this next squeeze coming in here. That would be a great thing to see. But again, I think it's a bit early to celebrate, you know, a completed retest here. It's still very much dicey which way we go. Very dicey, to be honest. Again, that candle yesterday, you know, from the Cameco, yikes, that is not ideal. That is not good at all. The uranium spot price here with, you know, again, against Bitcoin, massively weekly outperformance by Bitcoin. No questions asked on that front. And until we clear that golden trend line, it is still somewhat Bitcoin long-term that is in control. So for the long-term, to have the uranium spot price outperform, we need to break it. But for now, we have a massive move up in a blue bull flag here. So again, as long as it holds here, it is, I wouldn't say destined, but again, we have a good possibility to break up there. Getting below, obviously, Bitcoin will at that point take control until eventually we can regain the blue bull flag, hopefully. But again, that is the line in the sand, in my honest opinion. Nothing new here. Uranium spot price against gold still doing quite well. Again, here we have two bigger red candles here in a row. Again, for now, you could also argue that we are just bull flagging here. But again, very early, still, you know, an immature bull flag. Again, here we have broken up from the rising wedge here. And if you start come crashing down, that is, let's say if you start to pierce here, I mean, that's very often a sign that, you know, this was the last move up, and then gold will take over. Again, that doesn't mean that the uranium spot price has to crash 33%. Obviously not, but that just means that gold could have its move. But for now, hugely bullish. As long as we're in this bull flag here and we don't start to come crashing down, spot price uranium in control, no questions asked at all. Same thing against good old silver. We are in this yellow uptrend here, pretty well defined still after that huge neckline breakout. We are coming into some stiff resistance here at this parallel channel there. Same thing again here. If we remove that circle there, you could argue still that we are trying to squeeze up here. We don't have a confirmed fourth wave here. 1, 2, 3, excuse me, third wave, how low it can go, but definitely we have a ceiling roughly here in the short term right there. So we can add that in. Yeah, so definitely here, big resistance in this ratio. And if we are to come all the way down to the other side, which would be totally normal for, to play this trend channel here, meaning silver could actually start to outperform. Hopefully it will be silver going up also while uranium spot price goes up or just go sideways. And if we get, that move, if we break the ceiling here, I mean, that's just massively bullish in the ratio for uranium spot price. But I think if that happened, that could also be, silver really starting to tank. The last final pullback for silver before we, in my opinion, eventually go higher. So that is that. Not the best week for URNM, obviously, but again, since we started, in my view, since we started to enter, we are still up 300%. That is not too bad, in my opinion. And again, my take, we have, wave 3 here. Excuse me, wave 1, wave 2. I've said it 1,000 times, I know. Wave 3. And looking at it here, yes, the week was bad, but for now, it's all textbook stuff, really. It is breaking out, retesting, hopefully resumption. 30 weekly coming up nicely. So for now, it's still, even though the Twitter vibes is, yeah, it is bearish overall, but again, for now, we're still good. Again, if we start to come getting below there, below the 30 weekly, then it is a total different story. But again, let's see how Cameco does. I don't know how much Cameco weighs into these ETFs. Is it 10%, 15%? So yeah, one thing I want to show you actually before you leave, URNJ divided by CCJ. Just before, let's just remove all that garbage. Well, not garbage, but So these are the juniors, the small stuff outperforming Cameco, which is pretty nice to see, obviously. Again, you could argue that this is the same thing as the, let's do it in reverse, actually. This is the same thing as the gold to silver ratio, where you want the juniors to outperform the CCJ. So you can clearly see here now that URNJ now is below that low there, and we have possibly URNJ outperforming CCJ. And normally when that happens, you cannot have a bear market in, or you drop heavily in the uranium miners, because if that happens, if you have a huge correction in the miners, usually the big names should perform better. Let's say CCJ goes down 30%. That means most likely that the juniors should go down a lot more. So again, I think this is actually quite good. But again, let's see next week and the week next and the week after that. We will be looking at this uranium bull market until it ends, and then we will be out. And that's not next week. That's a few years into this lovely bull market. Okay, I started to rant. Excuse me, guys. Have a great day, a great weekend, all that good stuff. See you next week, guys. Bye.